How's it going, guys? We are back with another video. This one is suggested by Anonymous, so I don't even know the name myself, to be honest with you. But anyways, it's Genever of the Netherlands. Genever? I don't know for sure how to pronounce it, to be honest with you. By the channel Shy, or She. Don't know how to pronounce that either. But Schie. And, the link to the original video will be in the description section down below, as always. So, Genever of the Netherlands. We're going to go ahead and hit translate to English right here, because I don't know Dutch yet. I'm in the process of learning, though, so check that out. I have a link down below for that as well, actually. But this English language film, Genever of the Netherlands, is intended to promote the Genever product abroad. In the film by Wiebe Hoogeveen, probably butchered that, I apologize. You can see the history of Dutch distilled products, in which the city of Schiedam, I believe, plays an important role. The film has Dutch subtitles. Original broadcast Wednesday, January 18th, 2006. So, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. And, yep, I need to switch my screen real quick. I apologize. And there we go. All right, cool. So let's check this out. Look TV. Oh, there we go.
There's a drink, which varies from an almost neutral taste to a full malt taste and everything in between. William of Orange took the drink to Britain when he was asked to be king. Here the English added lots of juniper tree berries to it and therefore became the English variation. This is the never-ending story of Genever.
Juniper tree berries. So, okay, so I'm assuming before that it didn't have it then, right? Let me go back and check this out real quick.
Here the English added lots of juniper tree berries to it and therefore became the English variation.
Okay.
This is the never-ending story of Genever in the Netherlands.
Geneva.
Genever is mostly made from barley and rye, and because we need those in large quantities, we use, besides the grains we grow ourselves, also the ones from overseas, from the Baltic. In these specially equipped sailing ships, we brought back barley and rye, the woods we needed for the distilleries, and one of the best juniper tree berries in the world. It all became a world-famous drink when it was industrialized in the 18th century.
Okay, so they were using juniper tree berries then, right? They just brought back the juniper tree berries. So, did the English just put more in it or something? Or a different kind of juniper tree berry? We're going to check it out.
And rye, the woods we needed for the distilleries, and one of the best juniper tree berries in the world. It all became a world-famous drink when it was industrialized in the 18th century. This was done in the town which almost gave her name to the drink, Schiedam, or as the English pronounce it, Schiedam. This relative small town began to make Genever in the beginning of the 16th century, but in large quantities during the 17th, 18th and 19th century, and became the biggest producer of spirits in the world. The remains of this illustrious
biggest producer of spirits in the world. Dang. That is crazy.
Past you can still witness today. As you walk down the canals, you can still imagine the barrels standing waiting to be shipped to the Far East or West. When the young Dutch drink alcohol, they prefer mixed drinks, like for instance vodka with lemonade. But when they get older, they begin to appreciate to drink vodka and Genever pure.
I think that's about anywhere though. You get a taste for it and you just want it to be a little bit stronger as it goes. You know what I mean? You got a barrel of it with him.
Welcome to Schiedam, the Genever capital of the Netherlands. My name is Rob van Klaarwater and I'm going to tell you all about the spirits and how it is made.
All right.
As you can see, we are now standing in one of the largest mills of Schiedam. We used to have 24 of them. Now we only have 5. But they still grind the grain for the distilleries and also for the bakers.
Okay.
After this, you need, of course, porters to carry the sacks to the distilleries.
Porters?
So, let's go to the porter's house. This is the
it's
porter's
a person.
or bearer's house. When the bell was rung, the porters had 7 minutes time to get into the house. When somebody came later than that, they were not allowed to throw the dice. And that meant they didn't have work, because he who had the highest score after the throwing got the job. The sack carrying guild was called St. Anthony and dates from 1464. The porters carried the sacks of malted barley and rye flour from the mill into the distillery.
So I'm assuming all the kids or young men in town or whatever would just kind of hang out there and just hope to get hired for the day. Is that what it is? And then they just carry the sacks of whatever it is to the place and just do like the handiwork, right? And then they just hang out and live in that house, the porter's house. I don't know.
Here in the old town of Schiedam, in the heart, there is the Distilled Museum. And they still got a burnery, like they call it. It's a sort of a distillery with 3 pot stills. And Jacco van der Leun is going to show us how this was working in the old days.
Nice. Well, let's check it out. Oh, wow.
Jacco! How are you doing?
Jeez. I was not expecting that barrel to be that massive. Wow.
Hi Rob, very well, thank you.
Jeez.
What are you working at the moment?
I am measuring the amount of liquor I've got in this big barrel.
Yeah.
In that big ass barrel.
So, how many liters does this contain?
At the moment, 2,000 liters of traditional malt wine.
Ah, this is very nice. Can you show us?
Yeah, sure.
This is very nice.
Oh, that is nice. This is the mother of all Genever.
Okay, so there's a barrel under them into the floor. I thought they were talking about the barrel that's like, you know, right next or right behind them.
We produced this here for centuries in Schiedam.
So there were over 400 of these pot stills and distilleries.
Yeah, in the 19th century, whole Schiedam was Genever.
Ah.
And I will show you how we made that here.
So this is the mother of all Genever.
Yes.
And you're going to show us how it was made.
Yes.
It will be great. He's going to show us.
You're getting excited about it.
Every distillery in Schiedam had 3 pot stills, each one with its own purpose. They're all fired with coal, which makes it not only a very dirty, but also a job where the distiller had to be very precise and attentive. In these wooden open barrels, the rye flour is mixed with hot water. And when the mixture is cooled down to approximately 25 degrees Celsius, the malt flour is added as well. This batter, where we also put in some amount of yeast, is stirred or mixed for some time. Because of the enzymes, the wonder starts. After a few days, the batter already contains approximately 6% alcohol and some carbon dioxide. But we're only interested in the alcohol, and therefore we are now going to distill the alcohol out of the mix by heating up the batter in these beautiful old pot stills. Distillation is none other than increasing the temperature of a liquid until its various components, each at its own temperature, evaporates. During the distillation, the bad alcohol, the methyl alcohol, is distilled out of the liquid. The good alcohol, the ethyl alcohol, has a higher point of evaporation and therefore evaporates later when the still is heated up even more. We're off to start the process of distillation.
Yeah, because it's not that hard to separate like alcohol from water. Like they said, you know, they all evaporate at different temperatures and whatnot. So, yeah, nice. And I like how they did this in the old kind of like, what is it, sepia or whatever it's called, to give it that vintage feel. I like it.
By way of this overflow system, the liquid, which now contains 12% alcohol, now flows into a ground barrel. After the second distillation, we have an alcohol percentage of 24%, and after the third one, we finally made our malt wine, which contains 48% alcohol.
Triple distilled, huh?
This malt wine is now put in these oak barrels to be taken to the final distillery, when we distill it again, but not after we added juniper tree berries and all kinds of herbs, berries, roots, spices, nuts and fruits.
Okay, so they triple distill it, then they ship it off, season the crap out of it, right? And then distill it again. Okay. But what makes it different than the British version, though? It's the VOC flag.
During the 17th and 18th century, the Dutch VOC, the United East Indies Company, traveled to the Far East, to Indonesia, to fetch herbs and spices, and the hold was full of those when they came back. And for dinner they had bread, porridge, fishes, cheeses, but the most important, beer and wine. And 2 times a day it was a party, because then they got the Genever to keep up the spirits. As you can see, this is the dinner for the officers. Chicken, vegetables, wine, beer, and of course, a lot of Genever.
I'm going to have to see if I can find Geneva here. I don't know if I can even get that in the United States. I'm going to have to check into that and try it sometime.
Can you imagine sailing on those ships to the Far East, to South Africa, South America, Ceylon, Indonesia, Batavia,
That'd be
even
crazy.
Australia, New Zealand?
Yeah.
And then imagine the smells and the diseases.
I don't want to imagine that. That's probably not good.
And after months and months at sea and suffered from all illnesses, at last, land ahead. Here in Amsterdam, the herbs and spices were also used in several other drinks, like liqueurs and so-called bitters. The Dutch East Indies Company were the biggest firm of shipholders and trading companies of the world.
I feel like I've heard bitters. I've heard that term. I don't know if it was in a video that I reacted to or if it was you guys commenting in the comment section, but I feel like I should know what that is. With the big profits they made, they decorated Amsterdam with these beautiful merchant houses. Nice.
We're now here in one of the oldest parts of Amsterdam, on our way to a distillery where they still distill in the old-fashioned way.
One of the oldest parts of Amsterdam. Now, how old exactly is Amsterdam? Right? I mean, it's hundreds of years old if I'm not mistaken. And this is one of the oldest parts of Amsterdam, so that's pretty interesting. I like old stuff. I really do. I don't want to be old, though. What they do with us distiller. I like old stuff, but like, I don't want to get old, right? Like, we could all relate to that. You know what I mean?
On our way to a distillery where they still distill in the old-fashioned way. And I wonder what they do with those herbs we just bought.
Yeah, I'm curious too. But it said William Orange took it to England, right, before he was made king or when he was made king or whatever. And then they started adding, I thought they said juniper berries, and then it became like the English version, gin is what I've heard before, you know, that this is the granddaddy of gin, right? So, but they're already doing juniper berries. So like, I'm interested to see, like, is it just a different mix of, like a different ratio kind of thing, or I don't know. I guess, I mean, we'll find out, right? And if you know, put it in the comment section. That would be amazing. Turn my mic up just a little bit more here. I don't know if yeah, this should be too loud. Sorry, guys. Apologize. I'll stop messing with it.
Here in the heart of Amsterdam, in the Jordaan, you can see that this profession goes not only from father to son, but in this case from father to daughter. Fanny van Wees is the only woman distiller of the Netherlands. She's one of those old-fashioned distillers.
The only
who still
woman
tries to keep
distiller.
the old tradition alive.
Nice. One of a kind. What in the world is all that stuff?
In this distillery, the malt wine is distilled again. And here you can witness daily how, with master skill, the last part of the making of Genever is done.
Now, I wonder why they're calling it, like, I've heard it a few times now. They've called it malt wine. Right? Is that what they're referring to it as? I don't know what exactly that is.
This is called Genever elixir. This is what we is our own recipe.
Elixir.
And we use it for most of our Genevers. And it's mostly herbs and flowers. The alcohol needs to go from a vaporized to fluid. Therefore it's in a spiral here inside. This one is filled with cold water.
It's got to condense.
Therefore it goes from damp to liquid again. After the middle process of the Genever, this one smells very nice. I'll let you smell something. You smell the herbs in this.
Oh, that's lovely. So all the herbs and seeds?
Just splash
They're
in there.
inside.
Yeah.
But the more you want to take out of your kettle, it gets very bad because then the low smells that are in the herbs come out at the last part of the distillation process.
So you only want to have the first half?
Exactly.
Interesting. She gotta
As
smell
you
it
can
all
see,
day.
she's a very busy lady. But there are 3 pot stills at the moment working. So yeah, you have to be everywhere at the same time, which is, I think it's impossible.
I mean, she's doing it though, huh?
The herbs and spices are carefully mixed and measured so that every time the drink will have the same flavor and tastes. For the liqueurs they also use star anise, cinnamon, orange peel, vanilla sticks, lavender, hazelnuts,
Okay.
cherries, peaches and apples, to name but a few.
I mean, it makes sense. You guys, started like the spice trade, or at least made it big. So all those spices, it makes sense that, you guys would have been adding spices into your alcohol and stuff like that. And yeah, and I mean, obviously you got you have all the spice breads and stuff too. So yeah.
The mix of herbs and spices are put into a sack and are percolated in a pot still until these ingredients have given their flavor and tastes to the alcohol.
Like a big ass tea bag, huh? Okay.
Every step in the process is watched very carefully, and as you can see, the nose is the most important equipment a distiller has. To get the most out of the ingredients, the liquid is sometimes...
Oh man. She's just smelling the shit out of it. I mean, just smelling it all day, every day. She's got to be getting drunk off those fumes, or she's immune to it. I don't even know.
Every step in the process is watched very carefully, and as you can see, the nose is the most important equipment a distiller has. To get the most out of the ingredients, the liquid is sometimes distilled again. These are both coffees, but 80%. All those lovely smells. But I'm so very thirsty now. I want to taste it. Let's go taste it.
He's just sneaking away with a glass. It's like, let's just go taste it.
After all that hard work, the liquid is diluted with water and is then left to stand for at least 6 weeks while the flavors merge. And after that is put in a barrel.
Big ass barrel too. Look at that.
We're in the cellar now, and in this cellar are about 12 types of our Genevers waiting to be older and older and older. And in this part, it's a very special part, here lie the 15 and 20-year-old Genevers.
This is the treasure chamber of the distillery.
Nice.
Here the Genever is aging. Sometimes it's more than 20 years before it's put in a bottle. The barrels themselves were used before for other drinks. This means that the barrel does not give a harsh color, taste or smell of wood to the Genever, but gives it a gentle wooden and sometimes sweet vanilla taste to it, giving it
Alright.
an extra touch. Here everything is done by hand, from the barrel to these beautiful stone jugs.
Now, fresh Geneva versus 20-year-old Geneva. What is the difference between that? You know what I mean? And is it worth the wait of 20 years or more? I mean, does it get smoother, more, you know what I mean? Like just refined tasting, or like, does it get stronger perhaps as it sits there? Let me know if you guys have ever had like right out the distillery, you know, fresh made Geneva versus like, you know, 20-year-old. Yeah. All handmade over here, huh? Now, have they broke any bottles hammering away at them like that? You know what I mean? Boom, boom. I like those bottles too, though. Those are cool. Well, the ceramic ones are pottery.
Every bottle catches a lot of attention.
Yeah.
The bottles are even sealed with a wax stamp with the symbol of the distillery.
Very nice.
You have seen, these products are made with passion. And you never should mix with passion, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Cheers.
He says, drink it straight.
Come along, let's have a Geneva. Hi Joop.
Hi Robert, how are you doing?
Yeah, fine, you? The regular, please. And not only Geneva they got, but also very nice meatballs. Well, this is one of the cafes where they serve these drinks. And very fine one as well. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheers.
In Amsterdam, Schiedam, in fact everywhere in Holland, you can still find well-decorated and cozy pubs, where many people meet each other and have a nice time.
Nice.
Thank you very much. This is what I like. Dinner and a very nice drink. Cheers.
Nice. Yeah. Makes me want to drink right now. Just so I can do a proper cheers, you know what I mean?
Cheers.
Yeah, let's go on that.
But I got coffee, so
Now
we're
we're
good
going
with
to
that.
visit a modern distillery in Roosendaal, in the south of the Netherlands.
Oh, there's more.
Because there wasn't enough room in Schiedam, this former Schiedam distiller moved to Roosendaal and restarted his distillery.
The one room,
And
huh?
as you can see, in the modern distillery, they also use a variety of the old-fashioned ingredients.
Oh, you still need your seasoning, yeah. You're just gonna eat it. Cinnamon.
This is now one of the biggest distilleries in the Netherlands.
Old.
With the biggest
Genever, is that where that translates to old, right?
barrels of the Netherlands. And this is the berry which gave the name to the drink Geneva, juniper tree berries. Here they use a different way of getting the tastes into the liquid. A bag full of herbs is hung into the alcohol. This is called maceration.
Isn't that what they did in the other one? How's that different?
Because they make all kinds of drinks here, one of
I remember because I was like, oh, like a big ass tea bag. What do you mean? Maybe they'll show it. Maybe it's just, I don't know. I'm pretty sure. Maybe I'm just confused. I don't know. And look at the size of that. 25,750 liters. Dang. Wow, that's a big tank. Like, look behind the brown ones. Like the big white ones. You almost don't even notice that they're tanks. Or bottles or whatever. Wow. Obviously not bottles, but wow.
way of getting the tastes into the liquid. A bag full of herbs is hung into the alcohol. This is called maceration.
Yeah, that's what they did with
make
the other
all
one.
kinds of drinks here, one of these big halls is filled with all kinds of pot stills. In this distillery, they also use a distillation column, which was invented around 1900. This made the old procedure obsolete. With this new invention, the making of alcohol was done in a fraction of the time that it took with the old method. Because of this, we now have young Genever, made in the new way, containing less than 15% malt wine, old Genever, mostly made in the old way, containing between 15% and 55% malt wine, and corn wine, which contains more than 55% malt wine. Each pot still has its own purpose. Here they use a lot of neutral alcohol to make all kinds of spirits, which are later put in Genever, liqueurs, bitters or vodka.
Okay.
With the new method, it's
Neutral.
also possible to make high-quality vodka in many varieties. This popular drink is exported all over the world.
And that's probably a good thing because you ain't getting it from Russia no more. Probably not. So get your vodka from the Netherlands, right, guys?
Hi Eric, what are you doing here?
Here
He's
in the lab
working.
We are checking daily the quality of the product. For example, with this modern equipment, we are checking the alcohol. We do that before bottling on the tanks, and we do it during the bottling on the bottles itself.
So the alcohol control,
Yes.
but also the quality of the consistency.
The alcohol control, huh?
I'm terribly sorry Eric, but this is a very traditional, old-fashioned way to check things. What are you doing here?
Indeed, a very traditional way. So we check the alcohol with the distillation method. It's a very old method, but we still use it to checking the alcohol.
Okay. So you check it 2 times?
You know, I know they do it all the time like that, but I would just simply be afraid that that glass is going to shatter under the heat. I'd be afraid to just be like right there. I mean, he's got his face leaning right. I mean, I've had glass break when it got too hot. I mean, I guess that's just glass that's made for it, but still, I don't know. Just maybe I'm just paranoid. I don't know.
Check the alcohol with the distillation method. It's a very old method, but we still use it to checking the alcohol.
It's old too. Could have stress
So you check it
cracks.
2 times?
Could shatter easy.
So we double check our products.
Whoops. About bumped my desk. The bottling facility.
Because of the large quantities of Genever, the bottles are filled using the most modern equipment.
Elephant, huh? I'm trying to learn Dutch, like I said. Is that elephant? Is that what that says? Olifant, right?
The bottles are filled
Right there. Olifant. Yeah, that means elephant. I'm like 99.9% sure.
using the most modern equipment.
Let me know down below.
Here we are witnessing how a container is filled with vodka.
And hit like and subscribe on the way down. That would be like super appreciated. Doesn't cost you anything, completely free, and like it just helps the channel grow. So definitely do that. That would be awesome.
In this case, the vodka is a fruit vodka. Destination, Australia.
Fruit vodka, eh? Yum. I'm not a huge
Like in the
vodka
old
fan
days?
though. But you know, maybe a fruit vodka wouldn't be so bad. I don't know.
Like in the old days, all kinds of Dutch drinks are now ready to be shipped to all corners of the world. This is done to be shipped.
All right.
Like in the old days, all kinds of Dutch drinks are now ready to be shipped to all corners of the world. This is done by trucks, trains and planes, but most of the time by boat.
Now he says like in the old days. So is it just referring to the Genever, or was like the Netherlands just making all sorts of alcohol? I know they make beer and stuff, which I mean, Belgium's more into the beer, I think, as far as making a lot of good beer than the Netherlands. I'm not saying the Netherlands don't make beer, because they obviously do, but yeah, it's off topic. I guess it wasn't off topic, but you know what I'm saying. A little tangent. So back to this. I get sidetracked easy.
Drinks of the Netherlands and its specialty, the traditional drink of the Dutch, Genever, are drinks which deserve to be rediscovered. Try it. Because of the high quality and the large variety, there's a Dutch drink for everyone. Cheers.
So I'm assuming there's multiple kinds of jenever, is what it makes it sound like. He says there's a drink for everybody. So, anyways. Oh, that camera's not up. So I wonder if it was working on my intro. I guess we'll find out, right? Anyways, if you enjoyed that, I got other videos. Watch those too, right? You guys have a super fun, awesome day. Take care. I will see you in the next one. Later.